Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Ish and you're watching Fishing with Ish, where I put the ish in fish. Today we're going to be taking a look at my kayak that I've used for the last 5 years, 6 years. I think I bought it in 2016. It is a Field & Stream Eagle Talon 12. I believe the original price I had paid is somewhere between $500 and $600 back in 2016. I think if they still sell them at places, I think they're around $400 now, which is a better price. It's not a bad kayak. I do like this kayak. And let me tell you, this thing has been used and abused. I take this thing out sometimes upwards of 4 times a week at different times of the year. It probably gets used 3 to 4 times more than my lawnmower. As you can see, it's all nice and dirty. If we flip it over, it has a ton of scratches. This thing gets drug over rocks its entire life. And to the point where I had to patch this, and I have a video showing how I patched this, and it's already wearing down because I pick it up from that side and it's always on this keel here, like just basically destroying it. But the patch has held up pretty well, and I'm happy with the patch. All right, so the kayak came with a rod holder, which it's not bad. I like it. It works pretty good. The only downfall to this is where they had mounted this. You think about it, your feet go here, right? So if you put a rod in here, you have to reach to here to get the rod. So you're sitting back here, you know, you get an idea. Also, I've always had issues with these pedals. I like them because they're adjustable, which is nice because sometimes you want your feet stretched out, sometimes you want them up. But, you know, there's this little lever here that's supposed to open that up so you can slide it, but you open it up and it cocks this, and then it doesn't always slide, you know, so you gotta use almost 2 hands, or, you know, force it. But, you know, I have it in there. I don't know what the cause is or why, but it always seems to move on me. Like, yeah, as I started this video, it's down here. I don't even know how it got down there. And then as you're sitting there on the water, you're trying to adjust this thing, you're reaching up trying to pull it, and it never slides. So nice, but also a pain in the butt. So you're sitting back here, you know, how many of you actually are even able to touch your toes sitting on the floor? I can't. I can barely. So my reach would come to here, and I have to find a way to reach another 1.5 feet to get my rod, unless my rod is somewhere facing behind me, which doesn't make any sense. So it's good, it's just in a bad place. I think they needed to find a way to put them to the sides here, or, you know, and it has rod holders here you just stick in, and those are okay too, but the angle of those are so vertical that your rods stick up way above you. So if you're paddling anywhere there's trees and anything overhead, your stuff just gets mashed into the trees and just gets destroyed. So I think the angle of these need to be leaned back more. Also, a nice bottle holder with a bungee. I guess this is a second place for a bottle, which is pretty awesome. I always just end up putting my lures and stuff in there after I change, because I get too lazy to put them back in the book bag. It's a sit on top kayak, so it's hollow inside, and you have a couple different compartments. One is this with this nice mesh bag, I guess you could say. I think this is good. I think that they should have made this much larger. Something else in here. There's a lot of space in here to be used, and they didn't make the greatest use of that. But it does have a nice seal to keep everything dry. The only issue with that is back here, there's a drain plug to drain out the water that gets inside, which you ask yourself, like, why would there be water inside? But there always seemed to have been some water inside for some reason or another, even from the beginning. But one word of advice is, do not unplug this and then forget to screw it back in, because as you can see, mine is gone. To keep in mind about transportation for a kayak this long, well, it's 12 foot long. It's actually 12 foot 6 inches long, I believe is what it is. It hangs out past the bed of the truck, like really far. So I always tie a red flag to my handle back here, just so that I'm legal. It's got this nice mesh back here with the, way it latches down with the bungees and stuff. I find it's cool. It's a good area, but again, you're sitting here, you can't really reach back here. So the best thing I found is I can get a cooler in here and like stretch it out. You know, it stretches out and get the cooler in there. This, I guess, maybe could be used for a minnow bucket. I'm not sure. I don't even think my minnow bucket would fit in there. But basically what I do with this is all my tackles in my book bag, and I just lay it right there. So one of my biggest concerns with this entire kayak is the fact that this is the seat that came with it. And if you ask me, I believe it goes like that. This is the most horrible thing in the world. Like, you know, it hooked on this and this, and it always slid around, and it doesn't work. It's fucking terrible. It hurts my back. So literally, like, the first time out, I just took this thing and like put it back in my truck and never used it. I just sat in this like this until I came up with this. I had made this from a old patio chair or deck chair, outside chair, whatever. And I had actually, you know, shortened it up, brought it down, because I didn't need a high back. It just made it awkward, and you'd bump your arms on it when you paddled. And crushed, you know, shortened this up here and left the base of the chair in there, but zip tied the outside cushions on there, and it may look raggedy, but I'm telling you, this made it able for me to go not just an hour or two kayaking and then my back hurt. I can go like 7-8 hours and my back is sore at that point because I'm sitting down on this thing, but it's way better. I don't get fatigued. It's great. It's just short enough that I can still paddle without really hitting my elbows and arms on the chair, and it's just short enough that I can still get into my hatch. And the benefit of it is you're kind of raised off the ground a little bit, so when you do get water in the kayak, it just sits in here, and you don't exactly get wet right away. But one of the also things I added was these scupper plugs, because as soon as you sit down on this thing, the water comes up in here. So no matter what seat you use, unless it's raised off the ground, even this one will eventually get wet. You just get soaked. Your butt gets soaked, and it's a terrible idea. I don't know why I just didn't leave these ones here open. Yeah, this thing's fared fairly well. It's, you know, it's got the bungees to hold your poles, which I don't use. I'm not exactly sure what this is for, but it's there. And yeah, I haven't changed too many things about this. Like this, I don't really use this. It's just basically useless. It came with, I'm pretty sure it came with this anchor, which is a cool design because it's nice and small and compact. You can put it anywhere, and the rope is fine rope and everything, but this is not heavy enough to keep you in place even at a lake with a slight breeze. It's just not going to happen. So my tactic on the yacht is just to wedge myself up on the bank or on a rock somewhere, put my foot up on it, and just hold myself there. So as for storage in this kayak, it has this nice opening up front, and I usually just keep my life jacket in there. And yeah, it goes open pretty far. I don't use it too often because I just go fishing for anywhere from 3 to 7 hours or so, and I don't really put anything in there. But I think I do plan on going kayaking on the yacht for a long distance at some point. It's on my bucket list. I want to go and do a lot. But yeah, you know, it's not a bad kayak. But if you were to buy a kayak now, kayaks have come a long way in the last 5 years, and this thing is stable, but it's not stable enough to stand up on. And which sucks, because if you're fishing, it's nice to be able to stand up and be able to see down in the water better and everything. Oh, one benefit to this kayak being as long as it is, and the way this thing is built, is it's actually kind of quick in the water for a sit on top kayak, fishing kayak. You know, I've paddled some other kayaks and they are so slow. They just like dam up the water in the front. This thing actually cuts through the water pretty well. You can see how, I believe it's called a keel. It's just shaped perfectly to guide through the water over top, and it just cuts through the water so nicely. There's so many other kayaks that are they're like cut off right here, and you're just plowing through water, and it takes you forever to paddle anywhere. And sometimes I actually paddle upriver and then float back down to my truck again so I can fish by myself. But yeah, overall, the only thing that's ever really happened is that for me dragging it. And I used to strap this thing down on my Ranger, and and I would put a ratchet strap here and here, which I found was a bad idea because I broke one of these, which is not the kayak's fault. That's all me. I shouldn't be doing that. So I switched to actually putting a strap here and then here on this side, just so there's not two in one spot. And it's easy fix, just put a washer in there and it's fine. Oh, and I never did use the anchor at all because, you know, it's got this trolley system for it, and like that doesn't even slide now. It used to. You can loosen it up and stuff, but you know, it's again, you're sitting here, you can't reach here to get, if you do, you get like a little tug, you know, and you can't, it doesn't work. And in all reality, on a kayak, you really need to have your anchor like perfectly off the front or perfectly off the rear. And this being off to the side, you're always crooked. Again, I just never used it. I've never had a good use for it. But overall, it's a good kayak. It was a great beginner kayak. It's very stable. I've never flipped it. I've never worried about going over. I've had a couple close calls here and there, but that's about it. Yeah, in the future, I think I'll be probably selling this guy and picking up something, hopefully with pedals, so that you can pedal and fish at the same time. Like that's one of the problems too, fishing river, is you're paddling, but then you have to stop paddling and cast your pole, and then you're drifting back down the river and you're fighting fish going down the river and you miss your spots and stuff. It's just kind of a pain. And I think if I had pedals, that would make that experience a lot better. So anyways, yeah, it's a good kayak. Hopefully this helps somebody out in deciding what they want and give them an opportunity to see what this kayak has been like for 6 years of heavy use. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of thing, click subscribe, hit the like, and if you want to, I do a lot of bass fishing in the Kayak. I have a ton of videos on it, and yeah, check my channel out. Thanks for watching. See you later.